So this is customer lifetime value. We're going to be focusing on a couple of key packages today. We're going to be featuring lifetimes and PyCaret today. This is also a skill that will help you make $150,000 or more. I have literally jam-packed this with value. I was up to almost midnight last night putting together all of the code and materials. And this is what I love to do. I'm excited to share this with you. It's going to help you a lot in your career. More on that in a minute. My name is Matt Dancho. I am your host today. I am the founder of Business Science. More on that here in a minute. This is Learning Lab 91. We'll talk about what Learning Labs are in a second. So with that said, if you are here to learn about customer lifetime value, then I have a ton of value for you. All right. Is that fair? Give me a thumbs up. Give me some love. All right. Good deal. So just a quick reminder, it would be absolutely silly to not get every ounce of value out of this presentation that I prepared. Like I said, I put a ton of effort into it, up to almost midnight last night doing this thing. So do me a favor. Please set aside, if you got LinkedIn or if you got Twitter on, or if you got, Instagram, put that stuff aside for a second. Turn your cell phones off and let's focus in on the presentation. My goal for today, so I like to give you guys, I like to hold a high bar. I want to give you everything, one skill that's going to help you make $150,000 or more. If that sounds fair, let me know in chat. Give me a thumbs up if you like the sound of that. All right, seeing some hearts, some thumbs up. Good, 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 good. All right. So, agenda for today. So, how are we going to execute on this mission? Today, I'm going to first cover. We had a lot of new people on here, so I'm going to cover why listen to me. Give you a little bit of background about myself. Should take about 5 minutes, maybe less. Second, live code demos. This is the bulk of our training today. We're going to be focused on full code. I have it broken up by beginner, intermediate, and expert. So whether you're a beginner or an intermediate or an expert, I'm going to be sharing tools and tactics for you to take home today. So everybody's getting something. That's the good news. And then conclusion. Actually, this should be $150,000. I'm going to show you now. We're in 2024 and inflation is increasing. So I'm now going to teach you how to get to 150K or more with this skill. Also, free gift for everybody today. I love giving out gifts. And for making an investment in your education by staying till the end today, everybody will get this. It's called the Ultimate Python Cheat Sheet. What it does, it consolidates the Python ecosystem. Python ecosystem is just absolutely massive. There's over 100,000 packages and it keeps increasing. And what having a cheat sheet like this does is it saves you years of trying to figure out what to focus in on. I mean, who here has been stuck, trying to learn the Python ecosystem? I'm still stuck and I've been learning it for 4 years. What it does also is breaks learning Python packages down by steps, things like data import, transformations, data visualization, machine learning. When you want to apply when you want to do this type of stuff and apply these steps to your work, this is the cheat sheet that's going to help you do that. All right. So you guys are all going to get that. I will hand it out at the end of the presentation, not before. All right. Um, as I had mentioned, this is a learning lab. Everything is being recorded here. Let me double check that I have the recording going. And yep, we're good. And so what happens is the video and all the code and the data sets and everything, they go into these things called learning labs. It's like a vault for my members. It is a paid program. I will put the link in the chat if anybody wants to join it. You guys are more than welcome. But this is a program where it has it has almost 100 labs now. It's like we're up to 91. I've been doing this for 4 years now. And I put a new lab in there every month. So we've got covering Python, R, all sorts of different tools and techniques. So if you want to learn more about that, I just put the link in the chat. All right. Background about myself. Okay, so why should you listen to me? You guys are here. You guys are investing 60 minutes into our this training today. So in case we've never met before, my name's Matt Dancho, and I am super excited to meet you. Literally, this is what I live for. I love training data scientists. I love helping you. A little bit of background about myself. I got started with the R programming language, and I want you to be completely honest with you. Those are my roots. I love R. I love the statistical programming, applying data science to business, and I've been coding in R actually much longer than Python. But hopefully I'll demonstrate how good I am with Python today as well. So I got my roots in R. I've actually developed a lot of software in R as well, and I'm actually developing some software in Python. We'll talk actually a little bit about that here in a second. But I am proud of my roots. Okay, so uh, and because of my roots, I have been afforded the opportunity to to speak at many events, conferences around the world. I am the founder of this company here, Business Science, and here I'm representing my company, Business Science. This is the R Finance conference. I'm talking about two software packages that I developed over on the R end of things. So one's Time TK, one's Model Time. They're time series and forecasting packages. Okay. But what's cool is over time, I've developed a lot of students and people, and I've gotten in touch with a lot of people. And actually, just at the end of last year, we started developing, or I started developing my first Python package. Okay, so this is a package here, TimeTK. A lot of people, if you come from the R programming language, you may have heard of it over there, but we started developing it in Python as well. And the reason I'm showing you this is I want you to know who's behind some of the work that we're doing. And I want to talk about some common threads. Okay. So this is the PyTime TK core team. And without them, this conversation wouldn't be happening right now. So you've got this guy, Jeff Tackies, you got Justin Curlin, Samuel Masato, Lucas Plowman, and Alex. All right. So this is our core team. And I want to talk about who they are as opposed to just, their smiling faces. This one, Jeff, he works at Kraft Heinz. This one, he's a principal data scientist. So Justin's a principal data scientist at Northwestern Mutual. Samuel is a machine learning engineer at Instituto Federal. Lucas is a senior data analyst at HubSpot. Plowman is a consultant, data science consultant, and Alex is a graduate of Georgia Tech. Okay. So, question to you. What do you think the common thread is between all of these people here and myself? Does anybody know? They're all okay. Yeah, Fadi has it. They are all my students. So these are my students, guys. And this is what I live for. I live for training elite data scientists. These guys are the best of the best of the best. This one's a senior data science manager, Kraft, Heinz. This one's principal data scientist at Northwestern Mutual. These are elite people. And that's what I want to help you guys become. All right. So, in fact, I'm just shy of training 20,000 students over my career. And my students are all over the world. Some are in Canada. We've got some in the Netherlands. We got some in New Jersey. This one is, well, somewhere in the USA. And the important thing to understand is these guys are the best of the best. They're being employed by Fortune 500 companies. In fact, most of these companies shown here employ my students. All right. And this is what brings us here today. It's to help you grow your career. That's what I live for. That's what I want to help you with. So today I want to help you land your next job, your next promotion, or career advancement. And that all starts with data science education. You have to get skills in order to be able to get some of these elite positions. All right. So this is what brings us here today. Now, today we're going to be talking about customer lifetime value. Has anyone here ever done customer lifetime value modeling? Put a 2 in the chat. Put a 2 in the chat if you guys have done some customer lifetime value modeling. All right. Okay. All right. So we do have some experience. That's good. Okay. How many of you have never done customer lifetime value modeling? Put a 0 in chat. And I was with you probably about 3 months ago. This was me. All right. A lot of people. A lot of people. Well, did you know that customer lifetime value is one of the top skills in marketing analytics that companies are actually hiring people for? Does anyone know that? So I just did this big analysis where I analyzed actually some freelance. It was for a different program. I analyzed all these freelance jobs. And in fact, I analyzed 15,000 of them. And I found that marketing analytics skills were getting paid 5 times more than just generic analytic skills. Okay. So if you're just like a data science or a data analyst generalist, using things like Power BI or Tableau or those types of things, you're making like on Upwork, maybe $20 to $30 an hour. But if you learn these types of skills with customer lifetime value modeling and some of the stuff that I'm going to share with you today, you can earn $100 to $150 an hour on Upwork. And that is a kind of a microcosm. That's a microcosm for it's not just freelance, but like companies will pay you for these skills a lot more than $100 an hour, in fact. So before we dive into it, though, there's a few key quick concepts that I want to get you up to speed on. All right. So one of the things is that customer lifetime value really has three key factors to the business goals. And this all relates back to the business. And this is why companies will hire you for these skills. First, companies want to know how much can we spend to acquire new customers. So what that is your customer lifetime value minus your cost to acquire a customer. All right. So CAC is thing like, think of that like how much you're spending on ads or how much you're spending to acquire a customer. So this is marketing spend. And then LTV is how much you will generate from that customer, not with their first purchase, not with their second, but over the lifetime with them. All right. The second one is which customers are most valuable. So you can actually use CLV to help with your segmentation. So segmentation is understanding, which kind of, in all of your customers, which are the best customers. All right. And that's what your CLV can help you with. You can understand, how much more money you're going to generate from those, or which ones are the ones that are, purchasing most frequently, purchasing the most value, and so on. All right. And then the third question that companies are generally interested in is how can we increase customer lifetime value? So they want to actually understand, okay, this is great. The customer lifetime value is expected to be, say, $500 for this person. How do we get it to 600? How do we get it to 700 and more? And that's where marketing strategy comes in. And I have good news for you. We're going to touch on all three of these today. Pretty fantastic, right? Now, there are actually, when it comes to customer lifetime value, I kind of want to break it down into two different categories. So there's four methods I'm going to share with you guys today within these two different categories. The first one is the most basic, and these are the descriptive techniques. So this is what 99% of marketers out there are doing. And I'm going to show you some pros and cons to it. And I'm going to show you why using data some of the predictive techniques, which I'm going to talk about here next, are going to help you go further, correct mistakes, and also do a lot more with your customers. All right. But first, the descriptive. You got to know what your baseline is. You got to know what everyone else is doing because that's what you want to beat, right? So you've got aggregated models. The advantage of pro there is they're very easy. But they're very basic. They're poor. They're not, normally on a customer level basis. They're normally at an aggregated level. We'll talk about that here, and I'll show you that in code. Then a little bit better than that is what we call cohort models. And this is where you're going to segment people by when they joined your company. So in a rough time range, you're going to take like a time range and it might be, they all join the same month of the year, and you're going to then figure out what those drill down into those cohorts. All right. This is still easy. So that's a pro. And it's a little bit better than these aggregated models, but it's still not that great. Okay. So that's what brings me to today. I want to show you guys, and you're going to take away predictive techniques too. And this is some of the most cutting edge stuff. So first, you have probabilistic models. That's the things like the lifetimes package, or if you've used PyMC3 marketing, they have a customer lifetime value technique in there. And that allows you to do probabilistic models. Those are very good. And I call those intermediate because they're kind of like, they're not the most advanced, and they're still easy to use, but they're definitely a lot better than these descriptive techniques. Okay. And then what we're going to move to is machine learning models. And this, in my opinion, is the best because it is a little bit more advanced, but you get a lot of benefit in terms of the granularity. And I'm going to show you what I mean by that and some of the marketing strategies we can pull because of that granularity. All right. Now, quick concepts too. So we all love equations, right? This is your basic run-of-the-mill customer lifetime value equation. It's very simple. You just take your average purchase value by your purchase frequency and then multiply that by the customer lifespan. But there's a lot of different variants of this. So there's churn methods. You can actually include churn rates in here. You can do discounted cash flow methods. So, these are all, again, very descriptive. But this is in a nutshell, kind of the basic equation. All right. Now, when we move on from the descriptive, the first one we're going to move when we move into this predictive is probabilistic models. And we're going to use the lifetime package today. So it's relatively easy to set up, much more accurate than descriptive methods. And then we're going to move into machine learning models. But why? Well, it's because ML models are more flexible, they're more accurate. It opens us up to what's called interpretable machine learning, and we're going to see that with SHAP. And it allows us to get closer to the true relationship from our marketing experiments. Really understanding what's contributing to that customer lifetime value and what levers we have to pull. All right. All right. So that's a little bit of background. Now let's dive into it. Who's ready for a demo? Give me a thumbs up if you guys are ready, or give me a one in chat if you guys are ready to dive into some code. All right, good, good. Here we go. So this is customer lifetime value. I'm a big fan of business case studies. So let's pretend that we're all in the same data science team today. All right. And we're working for, some sort of grocery retail store. All right. And we're going to be doing some of the marketing analytics for them. All right. So we've got a data set that's going to be for a company like this. Here I have a popular grocer, but we're just kind of mental model. Envision yourself working with me on this data science project today. All right. So here is our project. And this is the code. All of my Learning Labs Pro people will be getting this. So if you do join Learning Labs Pro, this is the code that we're going through today, and you'll get a copy of this. There's a data folder, and this is going to be the transactions, customer transactions that we're going to be analyzing. There's 3 different steps. So I said at the beginning of this training, there's 3 in 1. We're first going to do our first training on descriptive customer lifetime value. And then we're going to take it up a notch, and we're going to do probabilistic customer lifetime value. And we're going to use that lifetimes package. And then third, what we're going to use is machine learning. And this is kind of the cutting edge. And it's actually, even though it's advanced, so this is like beginner, this is intermediate, this is advanced. It's still not going to be that bad. So even if you are a beginner, I'll walk you through it. In order to get your environment set up properly, these are, so in this Conda environment, these are the packages and dependencies that I'm using. You'll see here that we've got, it actually, so I have a Python 2 course. It's not Python 2.0, but it's my second Python course, which is on machine learning. And it's basically that same stack that I use in the course. We're going to be using Python 3.9 today, and then some of the usual like Pandas, Scikit-learn, Stats Model, XGBoost, Plotly, Matplotlib, and so on. And then a few adders. You may not be as familiar with these, like Plot9, PyCaret, Lifetimes, and my PyTime TK package. So we're going to be using those as well. All right. Okay, with that said, let's get started. So the first step here, so we got 3 steps that we're going to go through, or 3 different parts. The first one is this descriptive customer lifetime value models. And again, this is kind of like a beginner analysis. So think of it like, hey, if I'm doing my first customer lifetime value models, let's start here just to get a baseline. Okay. Again, I've already touched on, these are the 3 business goals that we're going to tackle today. So we want to know how much can we spend to acquire a customer, which customers are the most valuable, and how can we increase the customer lifetime value marketing strategy. Now, spoiler, we aren't going to figure these out until we get to part 3. All right. And in fact, part 3 is where you're going to want to stick around, because that's where we're going to save the most amount of money. All right. But to get started here, we're just going to be focused on part 1, which is our descriptive customer lifetime value model. So that's our aggregated model, and then our cohort-based model. So let's figure this out. I'm going to load in 2 packages. I'm just hitting Shift and Enter, and it's going to open up a little Jupyter kernel here, and give it a second to run. So it is running. It's going to load these here in just a second. Sometimes, especially when I'm on Zoom, things seem to go a little bit slower. So this normally takes maybe 15, 20 seconds. Okay. Once those 2 load up, so we're loading in Pandas and PyTime TK, nothing too crazy here. Pandas will be for most of our data wrangling, and then PyTime TK will be for, I'm going to do a quick time series analysis as well, just to visualize the information. Okay. All right. Come on. Come on, come on, come on. I promise it will load up eventually. All right. So once it loads up, we're going to check out some data. I'm just going to read this data set here. Sheesh, it's taking forever. Again, this is most likely because I'm on Zoom and it knows that you're watching me here, right? Pandas is a huge library, so it takes a while for it to load up sometimes. Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Getting the laughing, okay, you guys are laughing. All right, hey there. See, I told you. It only took a minute and 5 seconds. Jeez. Oh man. All right. So now what we're doing is we're loading in about 2.6 million customer transactions. All right. So this might take a second to it looks like that one's done. Let's take a look at this. So you guys probably know what a pandas data frame is. So this is what that data set looks like. You can see it's 2.58 million rows by 23 columns. And we got all sorts of stuff in here. So the thing I don't like is that when these get really wide, you get a bunch of dots here and you can't see. So I created this function. It's actually if you pull in PyTime it comes with that. It's this dot glimpse method. And so when you get wide data, you can actually see what your data looks like. So we got this household key, and your household is think of that like your customer ID. So in your marketing experiments, you're going to have a customer. Um, we're tracking it by household key. Then they have a basket ID. So every time they make a trip to your store and they buy something, whatever they buy is considered in that basket. But when they come back the next time, they're going to have a new basket ID. So their household key will stay the same in that during that second transaction, but the basket ID will change. Okay. And then they have products that they're purchasing. They have different stores that they could be visiting. They have the timestamp of the transaction, the quantity that they're purchasing, the sales value, and this is the total sales value. So you don't need to multiply anything by quantity. Some discounts that they could be receiving, the manufacturer number, some departments, whether it's the produce department, the brand, if it's private or national, the commodity description, potatoes, and so on. And then we have some demographic factors, but a lot of this data doesn't include those demographic factors. All right. So that's why you're going to see a bunch of nans here. That means that's none. All right. So that's just a little bit about the data set. I'm going to make a quick copy of that. So that's what I'm doing here. So let me take caps off, shift enter, and then I'm going to make sure that this timestamp gets converted to a pandas date time. All right. All right. Then what I'm going to do real quick, we've already glimpsed it. So you see in the glimpse function, you can pull it on any data frame now to get in this format. The key here is this sales value column. So that's going to dictate our customer lifetime value. And what we want to do first is I just want to get a sense for kind of the data set that I'm looking at. Like what's the time frame? How much has that company earned in sales revenue over that time period? So we can see here that that company has done about $8 million during this time frame that we're analyzing. All right. But what does that mean? So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make a quick plot, a visualization, and this uses the PyTime package. We're going to do monthly aggregation of their sales, and then we're going to visualize it with this time series plot. Okay. And this blue line, that's just a smoother. We can actually take that off if it gets too confusing. But basically the idea is it smooths out the trend a little bit. Now with this monthly data set, what I see here is it starts here in January of 2017. It ends about 2 years later in December of 2018. Okay. And the reason there's a big dip here is because there's only half of the data for the month. So if it was, so you can see it's about 50% to the top. Um, but you can see here, general sales trends are doing about $382,000 a month, 371, 387, and so on. Generally, kind of looks like an upward trend. But you're going to see here that this start here is like a ramp up period. Now, the reason that happens is because the sample of data is actually a cohort. Okay. So what does that mean? Well, if we go back up here, the households that are being selected, they all started with the store, with the the grocer at the same time. So the ramp up period is from January 2017 through to about May 2017. You'll see some of this in the cohort analysis too. Okay. So that's just a little bit about this. Does everyone understand there's a ramp up period? And that's because we're looking at a cohort of people who started with the grocer between January of 2017 and May 2017. We all get that? That makes sense? Okay, good. Because that's going to be important. You don't want your data set to look, you want to understand why it looks the way it looks. All right. All right. So with that in mind, now we're going to move on to the first type of model, and that's aggregation models. So what aggregation models are used to do is to calculate the average customer lifetime value for a group of customers or a cohort. We'll show first just a general aggregated value. And this is what like a lot of marketing departments, they're doing this one or the cohort analysis. I'm going to show you both in just this first part. So in order to do this, you actually don't need any models. You don't need to know machine learning. You don't need to know anything. The only thing you really need to know is pandas. Okay. And pandas is it's because it's a big data wrangling exercise. So if we take our data frame, okay, our data frame looks like this, where we've got 2.6 million rows. And what we're going to do is I'm just going to grab out, or actually I'm going to group it on the household key and the basket ID. So that's these first two columns. And the reason I want to do that is I want to compute some aggregated or summary metrics about these, what the customers are doing inside of each purchase. And what I'm most interested in is the timestamps. So when does it occur and how much did they spend? Okay, that's it. So if I just run these three lines here, shift enter, we're going to see that we've got by household. These are all the basket IDs and in each of these baskets. So each trip to the store, this person's spending $78, $41, $26, $63, and so on. And you can see the timestamps. So roughly February 22nd, then March 10th. So it looks like 2 to 3 weeks for this person, seems to be their cycle. So every 2 to 3 weeks they're hitting the store. Okay. Then what I want to do is now that we have the total basket by basket ID, we can then analyze that a little bit further. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to group again on household. So when I run reset index, all that does is it pops out the household key and makes some columns. Same thing with the basket ID. So any of these this multi-level index, and now becomes columns. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to group on the household key, and then I'm going to do another aggregation. Okay. So now what I'm going to look at is within each of these households. So we now understand their baskets. What I want to know is their total, how much money have they spent in the given time frame? What is their average spend, out of all of these baskets, what on average, how much are they spending? And then a little bit of information about the frequency, how many times did they visit, the total sales, and so on. Okay, so that's what I'm doing here through here, and I'm going to save this as customer sales 1DF. Okay. All right. So this is the aggregated metrics, and you can see now we're analyzing per household. So we have the time and days between their first visit and their last visit. We have the frequency, the number of times they visited, 85. Then we have the total sales they spent over that time frame, and then we also have their average basket. So on average, they're spending $50.94 each time they visit. Okay. And we have that for 2,500 different customers. So, that huge data set that we started with, 2.58, we now just analyzed it and aggregated it pretty quickly. And we now have a little bit of information about, what they're doing spend-wise. Okay. All right. The next thing, what I want to do here, we're actually making a dictionary, and all we're doing is we're calculating for everybody now the average sales, which is $31 a visit. So basically each one of these, we're going to now calculate averages. The average purchase frequency. We're going to include something called a churn rate in here, and I will explain what that is here in a second. And then the maximum days. So this is going to tell me, hey, what's the total number of days that we're analyzing? All right. So that churn rate though, and this is something that you will have to define if you want to do a churn rate analysis as part of your customer lifetime value. Again, remember, I'm going to show you a lifetime approach, based on a number of years that those people are expected to buy, and then also a churn rate customer lifetime value calculation. So it turns out that churn, it depends on how we measure it. And the way I'm measuring it is if their frequency is, you know, based on their frequency. If they have only shopped less than 5 times, then I'm considering that customer a churned customer. Okay. And we could define it, much differently too. We could define it and say like, okay, if this person has only shopped, if they're on average shopping less than once a month, that could be the way we define churn, but you have to come up with a definition of churn that matches your business. Okay. And this is the one that I came up with. I'm not saying it's perfect, but it's just the one that I decided to come up with for ease of analysis and to show you an example here. All right. So when we do this, I now have computed some summary metrics, and this is that aggregation. Again, see, we keep aggregating it. We're aggregating it the whole way up to describe basically the entire population in just one line. So average sales is $31.66. Average purchase frequency during the time period is 110 times. So these visitors, on your average customer is coming back lots and lots of times. Average churn rate is about 1.3%, the way I defined it. 1.3% is actually very good over this time period. So it's, your business is pretty sticky if you only have a 1.3% churn rate over 2 years period, right? But again, this depends on how you define churn. We could define it more aggressively and say like, okay, if these people only visit, instead of less than 5 times, less than 25 times, recognizing that 110 is our average. Okay. So, and that would give us a much higher churn rate. And then the max days is in here as well. So in order to do just our general customer lifetime value calculations, again, they're actually very simple. So we're basically following this equation here that I showed you. It's this one right here. Average purchase value times purchase frequency times customer lifespan. We're going to make some slight tweaks to it. So we've got our average purchase, which is our average sales, times our average purchase frequency. And then for the churn, this is a churn customer lifetime value, and we also have a lifetime customer lifetime value. What we're going to do is divide it by the churn rate plus some, because we divide it by something that could be zero. I add in this like EPS, which is a very small value just to make sure we don't get like infinite values. Okay. And then one other modification, and it's sometimes good to add in a profit margin. Okay. Because we don't, one of the goals here is to understand how much we can spend to acquire a new customer. And in order to do that, what you really want to analyze is the profit from each of those customers, not just how much revenue you expect to make, but how much profit do you expect to make. So that's why we're multiplying in here by a profit margin. So if I do it without the profit margin, we can see here that the churn method, whoops, I got to run these, shift enter. So I'm assuming a 15% profit margin, and then I add a little EPS in here. The customer lifetime will come into play with the second calculation. So I want to do this without the profit margin first. And we can see here $239,000 revenue on average by customer. This method is telling me this is probably very optimistic. I don't expect to make $239,000. Now, how much profit? So 15% profit margin. It's expecting over the lifetime of a customer, because our churn rates are so low, to make $35,000 per customer in just profit. But I'm very skeptical of that number. Okay. So that's why I like to include a second calculation. This is with lifetime. So if you say your average customer lifetime, and keep in mind, this is a very sticky business, a grocery store, limited options normally in a geographic location. So chances are you could probably get 5 years out of these people. All right. So if we do that calculation, it's very similar. Average sales times the average purchase frequency. We're going to divide it by by 365 to get it to a 1 year. So this is the number of days divided by 365. And then, so now we have it in per year. and then the customer lifetime, which is the number of years. So this one, when we run this without profit margin added in, this is more reasonable, probably $8,900 over the lifetime of that 5 years is what you're projecting. Okay. And then if you multiply in the profit margin, that's what this is right here. So you're expected to make about $1,300 a customer. Okay. So in sum, what you could say here, when I run this, I've now just added the CLV churn method and then the CLV lifetime method. You could say, all right, this one I'm going to set that aside because that's just way too optimistic. But I wanted to show you different methods depending on the business. If it's a subscription-based model, this one might actually be better than the lifetime method. But like for our purposes, we're going to say this is more accurate. All right. And we can say here that, okay, on average, I can spend up to $1,300 a customer. Now, we don't want to get too close to that because then your business isn't making any money. But anything more than that, and you're losing a customer, and you're going to go out of business, basically. But if you're doing, say, $100 to acquire a customer, and you're making $1,300 on average from that customer, that's a good business model. And you can run that all day. That's a 10x return. Okay. So that's the value of doing this real quick. Now, the issue is the accuracy. Do you believe that? Okay. So one way that we can further enhance these models is actually start to look at a cohort model. And again, we already have kind of a cohort that we're analyzing, but what we want to do is we want to break it down further by month that these people have signed up with us. So cohort modeling is then the next level. So this is going to add more granularity. It's still not going to be perfect, but it's still relatively easy to do. Okay. So cohort models are used to calculate the average customer lifetime value for a group of customers. Oftentimes, a cohort is defined by the cohort's first purchase date. Okay. So we're going to run with the same metrics as before. 15% profit margin, customer lifespan of 5 years, EPS on churn 0.001. One difference here is we're then going to add to our data frame a start month. So I'll show you what this looks like when I run these two lines. So all I'm doing in our data frame, if I glimpse it, we're adding the start month. And that's going to tell me when this customer bought their first, whatever, basket of goods with us. Okay. So this calculation, and I'm just going to run through it actually much faster than what I did before, because it's basically the same thing as this. But all I'm doing now is adding in the start month where appropriate. So group by start month and household ID, and then do the total basket sales. Then start month and household key, and then do the average total sales and the average sales. And then down here, instead of just diving in and calculating summary, we're going to do summary by start month. Okay. So when I run all of this code here, what it does is it basically produces this for all of our cohorts. Okay. So let's take a look at this. All right. So this is our cohort analysis. And like what we had up here, it's the same columns, but now what we're doing is we're breaking it down by what their start month was with us. Okay. Does that make sense? Do you guys see what we're doing? All we're doing is we're just picking a way to drill into these people, and it's just based on when they started with us. And this is some of the good information you can see. So if we add the cohort size, you can see that this analysis, we're already analyzing a cohort. So we're analyzing anybody who purchased between January of 2017 and April of 2017. So in March, you can see we've got very few new customers. That's because this data set is already kind of a slice in time, a slice of customers. This business, that means that they're actually making a lot more money than what we're seeing here, because we're only analyzing 4 months of new customers only. We aren't analyzing any existing that pre-existed before this, and we aren't analyzing anybody after. So it's just a 4-month slice of people, and then, or I should say, 4-month slice of people, and then we're analyzing their sales transaction history over 2 years. All right. So that comes out live and clear in this cohort analysis. We're also seeing that people who joined in January have a slightly different, like each one's going to have slightly different customer lifetime values. Now, this is good though, because the first 4 months, they all look relatively, they're not too far off from each other. If you had one that's like, you know, 400 and then another that's like 2,500, then you know something's different between those two cohorts. But for the most part, they all look pretty much the same. Now, everyone down here from the rest, this is just probably, data leakage. Somehow these customers got in here, not really sure. But we can probably disregard this data here, and we should actually take those customers out of this analysis. Okay. Okay. So that's our cohort analysis, and that's kind of how it works. And now that you understand those, what we're going to do is build on that through this training. So couple conclusions, if I could spell conclusion. There we go. So number one, I don't trust the customer lifetime value calculations because, well, specifically the thing that I saw is the churn method. So for this business model, I would not use a churn method to analyze it. I would use maybe a churn method for like a subscription-based model. But I wanted to give that to you in case you are analyzing a subscription-based model. Say you're for an e-commerce, or say you work for a startup and they have subscription revenue. All right, this method actually might work for you, but for a brick and mortar store, this is probably the better method because that's going to be more accurate. The second one is that as we get more granular, we're going to get higher accuracy in these CLV calculations. You can see now that we're analyzing by month, the CLVs start to change a little bit, and there's going to be a little bit more variance. But the next step, though, is to actually build a predictive model to forecast future customer lifetime values. So we don't know if this is going to continue forever or if it's going to change. All right. And that's what we want to do is be able to, by customer, forecast what their customer lifetime value is going to be. All right. So we're going to do that next. Let me save my work. Let me exit out of this. I'll keep this open, the interactive window, so we don't have to load libraries again. Let me put that back over here. And I'm just going to clear out the screen here. So now we're in part two. And part two is where we start to take the training wheels off. And now we're going to get into some intermediate analysis where we're going to be looking at some probabilistic CLV models. We're going to do that with this new package down here called Lifetimes. So again, we're going to load in pandas and PyTime TK, but now we're going to use this Lifetimes package, and that's going to open us up to some actual modeling approaches that are designed specifically for customer lifetime value. How many of you guys have ever heard of the Lifetimes package? Put a one in the webinar. Okay, good. All right. So yeah, zero if you've never heard of Lifetimes before. All right, a lot of zeros. Okay, so basically what Lifetimes does, I'm going to scroll down here. It gives us access to some of these new modeling approaches. There's the BG, NBD. I think it's called like Beta Geom. And you have to forgive me. I don't know like all the names for these. I just know how to use them. And then there's the Gamma model. So I'll talk about why you use these two different models here in a second, but those come from the Lifetimes package. Now, if you're an R programmer, and I'm going to do another training in the future here with customer lifetime value for R, I'm going to show you a different package. It's called CLV tools that we can use for customer lifetime value modeling. The same types of models that we're going to do with lifetimes in Python, we can do with CLV tools in R. Okay. All right. So we are here. We're in probabilistic models. Again, we're still trying to answer these business goals because we really don't know. We may know a little bit like what our average lifetime value is, but do I feel comfortable enough to say, hey, this particular customer, I can spend $50 and I'm gonna earn a profit on that if I acquire them? Nah, not yet. So we want to get a little bit we want to get a little bit better. We want to tighten it up. So we're going to use these four packages, or technically three packages, and we're going to load in a plotting utility. Again, we're going to use a profit margin. This should be 15%. Sorry. Yeah, I was playing around with some different profit margins before this. So if you see 5%, call me out on it. That should be 15% profit. We're going to load in our data, which is just what we loaded in before. And then we're going to move on to probabilistic models. So these are used to actually predict future lifetime values. So we'll give, you can give it a prediction horizon like 3 months or 9 months or 12 months or, years, depending on what the business model is. And I'm going to show you how to use them in this quick tutorial here. So what's cool is that if you give it a data frame of transactions that looks like this, remember our data frame, all we need is a household key, what is it? Store ID, product ID. Now we want the sales value and a timestamp. And what it'll do is it'll actually compute and organize it into what's called RFM, a recency frequency monetary table. How many of you guys have never heard of RFM before? Um, put a zero in chat if you've never heard of RFM. Okay. So let me just run this utility tool here, and I'll show you what it does. So just remember, we've got a bunch of transaction data, which is like, every time somebody buys something, it's huge. It's a huge data set, right? So, you know, 2.6 million. Well, what we want to do is we want to actually um, per customer, calculate some summary metrics on them. The recency is just how recent their transactions have been. How many days since their last transaction. Frequency is going to be how many times they transact through the lifetime that we're looking at, or the span that we're looking at. And then the monetary is going to be like how much, like a total value, how much have they spent. And that is a good way to characterize customers. It's still a little bit basic. Like when we get into machine learning, I'll show you some cool ways we can like even further define customers based on their purchasing habits. But this is a good base. So if you get that, all we're doing, so with just this one little function here, and we just identify which column has the customer, the date column, and the monetary, which is our sales values. It has now computed for each one of our customers, 2,500 customers that are in this data set, the frequency, recency, and monetary. So frequency, again, is how many transactions. Their recency, how recent was their last transaction, and their monetary value. So the total is 660, and then the average spend is the 5521. Okay. Once we have that formatted, so basically what we're doing is we're formatting it for all of these like different modeling approaches that we're going to use from the lifetimes package. Now, I do need to clarify something. I went through this analysis and I got stuck for like 20 minutes, and it was because it turns out that there's a few values here where we have zero for monetary. Okay. And it gamma models. So once we get down here, gamma will throw you an error if you don't run these 2 lines of code here. So what I'm doing is I'm removing anybody that has zeros or negative sales values. All right. So I'm going to run that. And now if I run this line again, it should return nothing. And it does. Okay. All right, so we got rid of anybody with a zero, so non-positive. Yeah, that's right, non-positive. And you will get an error if you have anything non-positive. That means zero or negative. Um, okay. So T may be time. Yeah, I saw that. So this might be the time span. So anyhow, all right. BGNBD model. Okay. The BGMBD model is a probabilistic model that predicts the number of repeat purchases. So how many times is that person going to continue to make purchases? So if you ever heard of, are they dead or are they alive? This is the analysis approach that you want to use to analyze for that. The BGMBD model can only predict future transactions and a churn rate. So it will not predict the actual spend. And that's why we need the gamma model. All right. Okay. So when I ran this the first time, I ran it with a penalizer coefficient of 0, and it didn't compute. So let's hope it computes with 0.15. If it doesn't compute, we're just going to increase this value here. So we're going to initialize from the lifetime values, a beta geo fitter, and then we're going to run it on the columns from this data frame. All right, it looks like it has computed, and we're now getting some coefficients in here. And then from that, we can get a summary. So these are the coefficients. There's some different bounds for the 95% upper and lower confidence intervals and the standard error. But what's cool is now we have a model that we can use to actually predict. And did I do the prediction? I can't remember if I predicted or not. Doesn't, I may not have predicted with it. Yeah, we do a prediction with a gamma down here, but you can actually predict with it. So this is cool. So there's this plotting utility for visualizing the probability that somebody's alive. And you can actually see a relationship between the customer's historical frequency and their customer's recency of purchases. And this is just kind of a neat thing. So what this says is that as the customer's historical frequency goes up and their recency uh, goes up, so zero is up here and zero is down here. So this can get a little confusing because zero is actually, I'm used to zero being down here, but zero is actually up here. So as you move from historical frequency uh, and you start to increase the customer's recency, so as that goes, if they're like 600 days out, then doesn't matter how frequent the purchase, the probability of being alive becomes much lower. And that's what you can see here. There's this yellow and kind of purple range. Purple is dead, yellow is alive, and so you want them in the yellow. So if their recency was 600, they would have had to purchase frequently, like at least 50 times for them to still be alive. If they were less than that, or if they're more than that, uh, yeah. So And here's a little summary of that too. So if a customer has bought multiple times and the time between their first and last transaction is right, then his or her probability of being alive is high. Okay. But and if they have a less frequency, bought once or twice, but the time between the first transaction is low, recency, then his probability is also being alive is high as well. Okay. So that's what we can tell from this plot. But again, what we actually want to know is, okay, so we now have a way to determine whether or not they're alive or dead, but we kind of know from the initial analysis that, this business is pretty sticky. So what we really want to know is from the gamma model, what their spend actually is, or their projected spend going forward. So that's what we have here. We're going to use this gamma model. So it's the same type of process. We just use a different fitter, a gamma fitter with a penalizer coefficient. Hopefully this, and then all you need is the frequency and the monetary to fit it. Why did that do that? Here, try it one more time. There we go. Again, if you run into any errors, you might need to increase this penalizer coefficient. And then now what we can do is we can actually do the GGF, conditional expected average profit. Okay. So if I do shift and enter, what this will do is add it to my summary DF. So the predicted average sales are right here. And this is great because now what we can do is we have a modeling approach to be able to, number one, validate what the predictions are, but then number two, be able to utilize different time frames, time horizons, and calculate what that average sales value will be over time. So here's an example here where I'm going to predict the customer lifetime value for the next 90 days. All right. So in order to do that, we use this GGF, customer lifetime value. We give it our our BGF model, which is this one up here. Under the hood, I think this actually runs the GGF model as well. We give it these 4 columns and we give it a time. So this time horizon is going to be in months. And then the frequency that the daily was, that the data set was analyzed or comes in with is daily. And then there's a discount rate. So if you remember, there's different ways of calculating the future revenue. And if you use a 1% discount rate on future the future values or the future cash flows, that's what that amounts to. So it's kind of like an accounting practice. All right. So when we run that for the next 3 months, you can see now we have a prediction. And this customer is expected to produce $573. This one's expected to produce $286, $393, and so on. So that's pretty good. So now we actually have a modeling approach where we can now start to predict customer lifetime value. And if you want to do, say, 6 months or 12 months, so let's up it to, say, 12 months. And this will actually integrate churn and integrate the actual spend from these people too. So over that lifespan. So it's not just going to be a direct multiplier saying this is going to continue in perpetuity. It might be less than that. Okay. So this would be for 12 months. All right. Cool. So we have now a way to predict. I'm just going to set that back to 3. And then also don't forget to add in profit margin. So let me run this one more time just so it's at 3 months. And the profit margin, so of 15%, this is if we want to target customers or customers like these with trying to increase their spend. This is how much we could potentially spend with while still breaking a profit. Okay. All right. Quick conclusions here. We now know how much we can spend to target customers over the next 3 months, like these or these specific customers, to get them to return. This is much better than the historical descriptive models, as it predicts the future transactions, and we can actually adjust the time frames, and it takes into account churn rates too. So when customers churn. However, we don't know what the relationship is between the features and the lifetime value. So we really don't understand, okay, what is causing somebody to have a higher lifetime value or a lower lifetime value? And that's really what the business wants, right? Because they want to be able to increase lifetime value. They don't just want to see, hey, I want my lifetime value to stay constant. I mean, certainly they don't want it to decrease, but they also want it to see what it takes to increase that. So that's where predictive models come in. All right. So I'm going to save my work. I'm going to clear all this stuff, and then we're going to move on to step 3. And this is the most advanced, but this is where we're going to be able to actually make predictive models. All right. Now, I'm going to walk through this, but I know we're getting close to time here. So I'm gonna pick up the pace a little bit. So the first thing is we're going to pull in some stuff from PyCaret, and we're going to do both a classification and a regression. Profit margin stays the same. You know the data by now. These are our transactions that we're pulling in. And what we're going to do is we're going to come up with a similar framing of the problem. We're going to say, okay, what will the customer spend be in the next 90 days? And what we're going to do is try to predict that spend using a regression model and also a classification model. Classification is going to be good for probability. Will they make another spend in next 90 days? And regression model will be good for how much will they spend. Okay, so we're going to get both probability of making more purchases, or at least one purchase, and we're going to get how much will they spend with a regression. All right. So we're going to come up with some constants here. This is our number of days, 90. We're going to take the max timestamp in our data set, which is max date, shift enter, and then we're going to create a cutoff. So we're going to take it 90 days back, and that's going to be the cutoff for our training and testing. Okay. So I'm going to create a data frame called temporal in, and that's going to be any dates that are less than the cutoff. And you can see here that my temporal in is just our transactions, but it's lower now. It's not the 2.6 million rows because 400,000 of those rows are in the future in the 90 days. And then the same thing we're going to do with the temporal out. We're going to take anything greater than the cutoff. And remember, I'm going to only look at households that are in this in data frame. So we want to get rid of any households that may have gotten in there some data leakage or whatever from different customers. Okay. So temporal out, we can see it's 372,000 rows. All right. Next, what we're going to do is some feature engineering. And this is the most challenging part. What we're going to do, we need to kind of manipulate our, we got to make targets out of the temporal out. So anything that is the last 90 days, that's where our sales value or our total revenue is going to come in and whether or not they made a purchase. So that's what we're doing here. So what I'm basically doing is using a little bit of Pandas data munging to by household, calculate what the 90-day sales value is. So this is what they did in the following 90 days. How much they spent, and this is what we're going to try and predict, and then we're going to do whether or not they made a purchase. Okay, and that's what this flag is here. All right. Then we're going to do a little bit of feature engineering. So now we have our targets, which comes from the out. Now we're going to create our features from the in data set, so the transactions. So we might do some recency features. So what I'm doing here is I'm taking my temporal in, and I'm going to look at the timestamp. And what we can do is figure out how long it was from their last transaction. And I can see this person is -1, which means they transacted 1 day ago. This person's -45. That means they transacted 45 days ago, and so on. Then we're going to do some frequency. So if you follow RFM, so we got recency up here, we can do frequency. And this is just the count of the number of times they've transacted. Okay. So again, a little bit more pandas. And we can see this person's transacted 1,470 times in a 2-year period. That's a lot. So this is a high, high transacting customer. Probably 219 still a lot. There's probably a lot lower than that. And then monetary. So same thing as before. We're calculating the total, and we're also uh, calculating the average. And we could do this too by basket. I didn't throw that in here, but it also probably makes sense to add it in by basket as well. I'll leave that up for you guys to do. So now that we got the RFM features, then what's cool about machine learning is we can come up with other features. So if I take a look at my temporal in data, we could come up with, features based on like what brands they're purchasing from, what stores they are purchasing from, and then so those are kind of advanced techniques, and I have plans to include some of those in some future programming. But this is actually just an easy one that's really powerful. Is if you adjust your cutoff. So if you want to understand, say how many transactions that they do in the past 28 days. Because that's like a kind of an advanced form of recency, you can include that in this model. And remember, with machine learning, the better your features, the better the modeling performance. So this is how many transactions were done in the last 28 days. See, this first customer had 5 in the last 28. This one had 3. This one had 5, 6, 11. So, that could be a predictive feature. Transactions in the last 2 weeks. So we just adjust our cutoff here. So cut off 28 day up here, cut off 14 day here, and we just apply that. Okay. So 14 days, 3, 3, 1, etc. How much did they spend in the last 14 days? So that could be another good feature. We're going to add that one in here. Okay. And the cool thing is once you build all of these features, all you have to do is use this PD concat, and it basically combines all of those features into one table. And we've got all those values in here now. So that's pretty nice. And then we merge in our targets, and this is our features data frame. So the final feature data frame looks like this. We're going to try and predict the next 90 days of value, the next 90 days, whether or not they bought. And then these are the features here that we're going to use in order to be able to calculate or build our machine learning model. We're going to use PyCaret to quickly build a predictive model. The best part about PyCaret, it doesn't take a whole lot of code. So this is to set up the models. We're first going to tackle a regression. So this is a reg setup regression, and we're going to try and predict how much they're going to spend over the next 90 days. All right. So let's do shift and enter, and then shift and enter here. Okay. So we've got the model, the XGBoost model that's fitting. It's doing tenfold cross validation. We're using extreme gradient boosting or XGBoost. Looks like it's finished up there. And then now we can make the predictions. All right. So our predictions are right here. And I have them sorted by top spend. So these people are predicted to spend a lot of money up here over the next 90 days. These people are predicted to not spend very much money. Okay. So we'll come back to this here in a second. I'm going to show you how to get some business insights out of that. Next one. So while this tells me how much they're going to spend, it doesn't tell me whether or not they're likely of falling off, right, or churning over the next 90 days. So that's what this next model is here for. It's a classification model. We're again going to set it up to do classification. We're gonna take a look at the 90 sales flag. That's our target. Shift and enter. We're going to create another XGBoost model, this time a classification model. And what we're going to do is then the same process. We're going to use predict model to predict on the data and then sort it ascending. Okay. And this is basically scoring by probability of purchasing. All right. Should be done. Let's check it out. And bada bing, bada boom. We now have, these customers are high likelihood of buying. These ones are very low likelihood. Okay. Okay, extracting some insights. And this is what's nice about machine learning is we can then tie in all of those features that were used to create that model. Which ones are the most important, the most influential? So for our regression model, we can run this, and this is what's returns what's called a SHAP plot. And what this does is it shows, because we're looking at the regression model, the sales value, the total sales value is the most important feature. So the way I interpret this is that if the feature value is high, meaning that they've spent a lot of money, the impact on the prediction is going to be high, meaning that the value is going to go up and up and up and up and up, the higher that their sales value is. Okay, that makes sense. But also we see that the sales value in the last 2 weeks is also quite important. So if they spent a lot of money in just the last 2 weeks, so it's kind of like combining sales and frequency, we can see that that's really important now. And in your basic models, your probabilistic models, it's not creating these types of features. So now we're able to more accurately show what's important to that model and more accurately determine the customer lifetime value. So that's pretty cool. We can run the same thing on the classification model. The important thing is I want to show you that depending on what your goal is, the modeling approach, the variable importance is going to change. So because now our goal is to understand what's most likely or probability to buy in the next 90 days, we can see that instead of sales value sum, that actually isn't nearly as important as how many transactions they made in the last 28 days. Okay. So that is the key ingredient here. And it all depends on your business goal. So we'll wrap up on that in a second. Now I really want to blow your mind though, because we've got a predictive model, but what can we do for the business? You guys want to save the business some money? Let me show you how. All right. So what would happen? Let's just say if you could increase revenue 10%. What do you think might happen? Do you think you might get a promotion? You think you might your boss might be excited? Remember that just off of this 4-month sample, they made $8 million, right? Well, 10% of 8 million is 800,000, and factor that in for a full year of customers or more. I mean, you're talking 800,000 times 3, 4, 10. If you look at, if you have all of the customers. So this is just a small sample of what can happen. So remember, if we take our predictions and for the regression model and we sum just the next 90 days, we can see here that this group of people is projected to contribute 1.1 million. Now, if we increase that 10% and then factor it up times 4, so a full year worth, you're going to save that company $470,000 if you can increase 10%. Now, the important thing though is this is just a small sample, and you got to understand that this company probably has 10 times that amount of customers, maybe 20 times. So if you can improve sales 10% just with a small sample, multiply that by 10 or 20, and you're at $4.5 million, $5 million a year, $10 million a year, saving that company money. Now, next question, how easy is this to do? Well, it's actually way easier than you think. And this is actually what I did at my company, Business Science, in order to grow revenue 10 to 20% just last year. And what I did was I focused in on the top customers. So remember, if we look at our predictions, since I sorted it by the prediction column, these are the people that are expected to spend the most over the next 90 days. So you just take that and you grab out these household keys. And then what you do is you take a look at their transactions. All right. And this is very simple. What we're doing is we're just figuring out from the transaction history now what things they're buying the most. Why didn't that work? Oh, I might not have saved the. There we go. Let's take a look at this. There we go. So they're buying a lot of soft drinks. And again, this is the regression, people. So if the goal is to increase the, or no, this is, yeah, this is the regression. Yeah, I think this is so I have it, I wanted to split it up based on business goal. So if the goal is to increase the frequency of purchases, this is what you would sell to them, meaning to get them back in the door, just to get them back started with you again. And then if you want to increase the size, how much they spend on purchases, this is what you'll sell them. So there's this miscellaneous items, beef, soft drinks, and so on. And the crazy thing is that when you target the top spenders or the top most frequent and you keep them in the door, you keep them happier, you give them more things to buy, and you end up doing what's called ascending them. And that can grow your revenue 10%. It's what it did with business science when we started implementing it. So key business insights here, guys, is that we can now take those customer lifetime values and figure out ways to increase them. Right? Do you guys all see that? Is that to me, that was an epiphany. I was like, holy crap. So give me a thumbs up if that resonated with you. All right, cool. So at the end of the day, now what we see is we can increase the customer lifetime sales value. We use regression models to do that. If you want to increase the sales probability, you're going to use the classification model to do that. And then make sure that you use the interpretable model and then tie that back into their purchases if you want to increase either of those. So figure out if you're trying to increase the total sales values, use the regression model, tie it back into what they're purchasing. All right, guys. I know that was a little bit longer than probably what we had expected. Again, I'm doing basically 3 labs in one, but I do have some conclusions for you guys. So we now have some tools to calculate customer lifetime value, and you're probably pretty excited about that, right? But my question to you, is that going to make you $150,000 a year or more? Just having one tool in the bag? Well, the answer is no. But what will earn you $150,000 per year is your data science process. And the reason is because your problems are going to be different than my problems. You're going to be tackling customer lifetime value maybe for a month at work or maybe 2 months, but then you're going to get put on a different project, a different marketing project, a different analytics project. And you're going to have to be able to battle those too. So the key here is that your data science process is really, really important. Does that make sense? And if you don't have a data science process, I'm actually going to give you mine here now. But now is the time to take notes. Okay. So what does a data science process look like? Well, if you think about that third part, the more advanced analysis, we did step 1, which is data collection. Normally we do some sort of data exploration. We kind of did that in the first part of the training today, but we would do a little bit more to understand, what the relationships are, what the correlations are. We would do data cleaning. We would, you really didn't see any of the data cleaning. That's because I did that all last night. And I kind of took care of that for you. And trust me, there's probably 50 lines of code that I didn't share you that are just like me doing data munging to get this into the right format for you. Then there's pre-processing, actually, getting the features the right way, doing the feature engineering, modeling, and the cross-validation. And we kind of glossed over that with PyCaret, but there's other things like scikit-learn that you're going to want to learn, model selection. And then what's really key, and we didn't show this today, is web applications. This is what companies actually value the most, is to be able to automate the modeling process on new data that's coming in, whether it's new customers, being able to calculate their customer lifetime value, basically putting that model that you just produced today with me and our data science team and putting that into what's called production. All right, does that make sense? So this is actually what companies really want. And this is, it's an example of what's called a Streamlit app. Have you guys heard of Streamlit before? Give me a thumbs up or a 1 if you guys have heard of Streamlit. Give me a 0 if you haven't. Okay. All right. Seems like most people. Okay. I'm starting to see some more zeros now. Okay. So basically, Streamlit is a way to kind of take that analysis and most importantly, the machine learning model, which has now been produced by our analysis, and then plug it into a model, or plug your model into a web app. This is how people will interact with that model when they get new data or when they upload a bunch of customers and want to know like the customer lifetime values for all of them. It's basically an automation tool. So that way you don't have to run the analysis for them and then give them a report. They can use this and get real-time answers. All right. Um, the problem is that most people, probably only 2% or so of you guys on the call today can actually do this at a high level. And that's really what I want to help you with. Now, at the beginning of this presentation, I told you you would have everything to make you actually $150,000. This is low now. $150,000 salary. Now, most of you guys thought that was the customer lifetime value, which don't get me wrong, that's really powerful. Now you got a project that you can put into your portfolio, but is that going to help you grow long term? Okay. So the reality was that's not the skill. What is the skill is, learning the data science process. And if you would like to be able to dominate data science with Python and get a six-figure data science career, I have a special offer for you guys today. All right. Who would like to see that? Let me know. Give me a thumbs up if you guys would like to see what offer I had prepared for you for 2024, because I want to help you guys become data scientists, senior data scientists, get the promotions, etc. All right. Now, if you are saying 0, you can head off the call right now because you're probably not going to enjoy the next couple minutes. All right, good. I'm seeing lots of ones. I'm seeing lots of hearts. Okay, so it starts with Python for data science automation, and this is a course that I developed. It includes a whole process to get you up to speed as fast as possible for Python, for doing data science, for doing automation. So you don't need any prerequisites to take this course. You learn how to take a business sales forecasting process, which is another really important type of a project, and convert it into what's called a Python automation. So you learn how to make reports on demand. You learn how to eliminate errors, which is very common. When I've worked with other companies and as a consultant, one of their biggest things are stuck in Excel, and using R or Python, these tools, you can automate everything. So you learn how to do that. It's the same thing that helped me save 20 hours a week at my old job. And it allowed me to work on projects at breakneck speed and run circles around my competitors who were stuck in Excel. And it took me from business analyst all the way to director of sales and forecasting. All right. So Python for data science automation, it walks through an actual project. So it starts with this thing called a jumpstart, and that's designed to help you get up and running with VS Code. You guys saw me using VS Code. That's this thing. If you want to learn how to use this tool, it's an amazing tool, but there is a little bit of a learning curve. So I walk you through that in just the first part. You learn how to analyze sales trends in that jumpstart. You learn how to perform a full sales analysis, and that's in just the first 45 minutes in this course. And then we take that project and we start to dissect it. So now that you have a kind of a baseline understanding, we're going to take that project and go deeper. So you're going to first learn how to work with databases, to read and write from SQL databases, make repeatable Python data functions and convert those into tools. You're going to create your own Python modules. This is actually something that like most data science programs never teach you how to do this, but this is one of the most important thing from a software perspective that I think any people using Python need to learn. They need to learn how to create their own modules so you can reuse code efficiently. Next, what you're going to do is you're going to learn how to connect to and kind of do that data wrangling and that data engineering process. So you're going to connect to a database and you're going to do a data analysis. All right. So for that, you're going to need Pandas. And Pandas is a popular data analysis and manipulation tool. It's used by data analysts and data scientists that work in Python. All right. It's probably the most popular package in the Python ecosystem for data analysis. So we take a 3-hour deep dive into the Pandas library, and I teach you all of the 80/20 tools. You first learn about objects, classes, methods, and these are one of the things that I really got hung up when I was learning, okay? Then what you do is you learn common techniques like row-wise filtering, column mutation and transformation, pivoting from wide to long and to wide formats. And then you also learn, these are things that we saw today a lot in that first section of the customer lifetime value, the group buys, the applies, for doing group data manipulation. And again, this section is over 3 hours in length. Then you need to explore the data. And for that, you learn how to use the Pandas profiling library. Okay. And this is for making quick exploratory reports. And with these reports in hand, we can identify the issues that need to be corrected. Okay. Next, you learn how to do functional programming and time series. These are two common skills you're going to work with a lot. So any timestamp data, like we saw today, anything with a timestamp, you're going to have to learn how to work with that. So 90% of business data has timestamps. For that, you're going to learn grouped resampling, outlier detection and cleaning. You're going to learn how to do summarize by time and make your own customizable function that converts about 25 lines of repeated code into a one-liner. And that's amazing because once you learn those skills, that's what's really going to help you grow. Next, you learn how to process time series and do a forecast. So you're going to learn forecasting basics with skTime, a popular time series library in Python. You learn how to make an ARIMA forecast that returns group-wise predictions. This is really important for marketing people who need to forecast return on ad spend, anything financial, any cash flows, and those types of things that are related to customers, sales demands. This is really important. You're going to learn how to automate ARIMA forecasting and make it a key addition to your own personal Python module. All right. Then you need to upgrade your visualizations. And for that, you learn this really powerful tool called Plot9. All right. Plot9, and actually most people in Python haven't learned about this library. It extends matplotlib, but it's the equivalent of ggplot2. So you can do massive customizations. So you learn how to make things like scatter plots, line plots, plots with smoothers, horizontal bar plots, histograms, KDE plots, box plots, faceted plots. You learn how to customize the plots to your will, and you can even make your own custom plotting functions. All right. So then as you're going through this project, then you're going to need to be able to write forecasts to a database. So now that you know how to create that analysis, you're going to learn how to store your analysis in a SQL database. Okay. So you're going to learn writing the analysis to a SQL database. And then with the analysis stored, you're going to automate those reports that the company actually needs on a repeatable schedule. So in Module 9, we work on automating Jupyter reports and HTML and PDF formats. Okay. You start by making a Jupyter report template that can be updated programmatically. And this is what we call parameterizing reports. So that way you can actually customize the reports programmatically without actually going into the report and having to type stuff up, right? You then learn how to write and execute the automation script using reporting parameters that can be adjusted and tweaked. And then you apply those automations to HTML and PDF formats, the most common two formats that you're probably going to deal with. You can set that up then as an automation script that runs on a routine schedule. Okay. So in Module 10, you learn how to do that. So you can do it on daily, weekly, monthly, or any custom time interval of your choice. I show you how to do it with task scheduling and also the Windows Task Scheduler. The Windows Task Scheduler is actually what I used to use for automating my reports when I was saving 20 hours a week. Okay. But for those that are in Mac, I also show you the Mac Automator, which is the equivalent to the Windows Task Scheduler. But as with any course or any program, you have to ask yourself, what's this going to do for me? Well, here's what it can do. So meet Jeremy Tope. Jeremy says that I've never felt comfortable in Python until now. Your Python course allowed me to gain the confidence in my everyday work. I couldn't have done this quickly without your course. Thank you for your constant support and incredible material. I've been using Python in production for 4 months, and I was headhunted for a new role. And starting the first week of December, I'll be a senior data scientist earning $150,000. That's pretty crazy. So today, guys, you're going to get data science for business, Python for data science automation, a $697 value. Now that course has a ton, but it's not enough. So next, you're going to get Python for machine learning and APIs. So you're going to discover the skills to actually complete very large projects for your company. So you're also going to learn how to think like a project manager So here's what's inside. In Python 2, we are tackling a $1 million+ ROI business project, just like the projects that you're going to be faced with. All right. I'm going to show you how to make more money from a company's email list in this course. When I talk about lead scoring in my $15 million model, this is the stuff that companies can really benefit from. So you're going to receive hands-on insider knowledge of how a real business works. You're going to discover the entire process for completing a project without relying on your IT team to put your project into production. And you're going to gain all the skills that you need to do this A to Z in Python. All right. So in this course, this is the next step. And we first start with business understanding because that's the most key. You need to learn how to understand the business problems. Okay. So what do we need to understand the business? That comes in the first module, and you're going to avoid the mistake that 87% of data science teams make. You're going to discover how to cost the problem. All right. So to do that, you're going to learn how to accurately estimate the total recurring costs of the business problems. You're going to see how I actually simulate these costs under different scenarios. And then you're going to discover how to provide a range of the costs and show the organization how much it's actually costing the company. All right. Next, once you do that, we're going to collect data, and then we're going to take that data inside of the context of the business problem. And for that, we're going to use pandas and SweetViz. So what does this look like inside of a project? In module 2, data understanding, you're going to learn how to connect to the database with the SQL data connection. You're going to analyze what are called associations. So this is going to give you those key indicators that you've got information in there that is worth that are quick insights. You're going to make what's called a full exploratory report, and I'm going to show you how to do this in one line of code, and that's going to help you gain insights and determine what increases the probability of making purchases when we vary key independent variables like member rating, and you're going to see the number of actions. So when you vary the number of actions that an email subscriber has taken, and it goes from 0 to 10 and so on, all the way up to 40, you can see how much more likely those customers are to buy. And then you're going to see, now that we've got the data understood with that raw data that shows some predictive value, now it's time to polish it. So that way you can extract the most value from your data. All right. That comes next in the data pipeline. So in module 3, what we're learning how to do is make special engineered features like date features. These are incredibly important. You're going to make text features, like learn how to extract information from text. You're going to make what are called rate and interaction features. You're going to create what are called one-to-many features. And then you're going to discover even more business insights. So again, you're going to run that same exploratory report, which is shown here. But now it's expanded, creating more and more associations. And why is that important? Because you're going to see how just adding one feature to your model is going to increase the lift 29x for somebody buying your product. You can see here, if they attended this particular, or if they did this particular action and they have a 1, they now just have a probability of buying of 29% just from this single feature. Okay. So now that we have really good features, you're ready to do machine learning and business prediction. Okay. And for that, I have module 4, machine learning with PyCaret. So PyCaret is what we saw today. We just saw a very small sample of it, but what PyCaret is it's actually a low-code machine learning library that eliminates the need to write thousands and thousands of machine learning code. With PyCaret, you're going to discover how to use the 19 different modeling algorithms, including XGBoost, LikeGBM, and CatBoost. You're going to then perform machine learning with those 19 different models to rank the best performance. Then you're going to discover how to tune the models to stabilize predictions and increase performance. And you're going to learn how to pick the right model. You're also going to learn how to find the most important features, just like what we saw today with the SHAP plots. You're going to learn how to determine why your model is predicting a customer to buy and how to lead score, ranking them by purchasing probability. Now, I also surveyed my students and I asked them, in addition to PyCaret, what modeling libraries did they want to learn? And unanimously, they told me 2 libraries. They told me this one, scikit-learn, and this one, which is H2O. So I added a special module 5 on machine learning with H2O and scikit-learn. First, you're going to learn scikit-learn, which is the most popular library in the Python ecosystem for machine learning. And that library is the one that packages like PyCaret use under the hood. And inside, you're going to discover how to create scikit-learn pipelines. You're going to learn how to tune them with grid search. And then also you're going to learn H2O, which is a scalable machine learning library optimized for performance on large data sets. How many of you guys put a 1 in chat if you have heard of H2O before? Anybody here heard of H2O? Okay, put a 0 in chat if you've never heard of H2O. Okay. All right. Good, good, good. Okay. So H2O, this is one of the best kept secrets. It's available in both R and Python. I love it. Once you learn it in one language, it makes it easy to go back and forth. But why do I love it? It's because of how scalable and accurate it is. It combines high accuracy and high scalability. So it's literally the secret to making hundreds of machine learning models in minutes. Okay. You're going to discover how to do that with H2O. You're also going to discover how to pick the best one. And then once you have all of these different machine learning models, you have to figure out a way to manage them. And that's what we call life cycle management. So for that, we have MLflow. Okay. So MLflow is a powerful tool for managing model experiments. So if you think of going from research to production, experimentation is your research phase. You want to store those models, and then you want to take the best and you want to log all their performance, and you want to pick the best and take those into production. And you actually get this for free with PyCaret. It comes included in PyCaret. So I'm going to show you inside of this course how to find and explore your PyCaret experiment log, and then how to access specific models that are created during your PyCaret classification experiments. And then I'm also going to show you, because it doesn't come with H2O, so I'm going to show you actually how to take H2O models and use and put them into and log them with MLflow. And then I'm going to show you how to access the H2O leaderboard and log that as well. So now you've got 3 full modules under your belt of machine learning, and you're getting very, very good with machine learning. But now we're ready. We need to move on to analyzing the business value, because that's what businesses actually want. They don't want you to just be like oh, you got a model. That's great. But now what they want is return on investment. And for that, we have module 7, ROI. So in module 7, what we do is we analyze return on investment to calculate a monthly increase of $237,000 in monthly sales. That's awesome. You're making them an extra almost $250,000 a month, right? That's pretty good. But we can actually, and then in that module, what we do is we determine that if we want to optimize our model, we could actually make them $311,000 a month. Okay. But there's some trade-offs. So you have to, normally management wants you to balance. So what we do is we seek to strike a balance between monthly sales and nurturing customers. Because if you go too hard on sales, all your customers that are in that nurturing phase, just finding out about you, they're all going to leave. So we target 90% of potential customers for sales emails, the ones that are the top 90 ready to buy. And then the other 10%, we set those aside and we continue to nurture them. Okay. And this is projected to yield an additional $67,000 in sales. So from that baseline model, we've now got it up to about 294,000, and we're not killing our email list. We're still nurturing the people that need to be nurtured. So that's the best of both worlds. We then label the list as hot leads and cold leads, and this is basically the segmentation. So you're going to give this to marketing team, and the strategy is actually expected to generate $3.6 million in the first year in sales. So pretty sweet. With management's approval of an implementation plan, we're now ready to build a production-ready API. All right. And we're going to use this cool technology called Fast API. So Fast API, how many of you guys have heard of Fast API? Put a 1 in the chat. Okay, put a 0 if you've never heard of it. Okay, so Fast API, it's amazing. So what it is a modern, it's a high performance web framework for building these things called APIs, and they can be used to connect different applications. So you can connect Streamlit to an API, you can connect Tableau to an API, you can connect Excel to an API. Actually, there's API connectors. So that's pretty cool. And basically, it runs on a server all the time. So whenever you ping that API, it'll produce a response. And that thing that's running is your Python code with your machine learning model, and it'll send you back the predictions. So if you have a customer lifetime value model, or if it's our lead scoring model, That's what Fast API does. So you'll get started by making what's called the API, the Fast API to run on a server. You're going to create both get and post endpoints, okay? And then you're going to write code to communicate with the API, because that's what you want to do. You're going to have an application that's going to send a request, and then the API code is going to run, and that's going to be your machine learning model, and it's going to create the lead scoring strategy, and then it's going to return those results back to the user. All right. Plus, you're going to learn how to do something really special, which is adding security. So every enterprise, what they want users to do is to have to authenticate, and this is for security reasons. So it's any serious enterprise, that's a requirement. So you're going to learn how to do that too. Now that you have the API on the back end, you need to have an application on the front end, like the Streamlit app, to connect up to it. So we have one more step. We're going to use this package called Streamlit, and we're going to develop a front end for our marketing team to use. Okay. And this is going to help them make more money. So in module 9, you're going to learn Streamlit, a low-code web framework for building web applications. All right. So you develop a Streamlit app that allows your marketing team to basically just upload a CSV file of your email list. Okay. And then the user uploads that email list. Then the user is prompted to customize the lead scoring strategy. And we keep it super simple. We just have 2 knobs here, and then they click run the analysis. All right. And then the user is then asked to check the ROI results, make sure everything looks okay. And you can see the dotted line is here. What you want to try and do is line up the dotted line with the top. But the user has the ability to kind of customize that. And you can see some of the strategy summary. You're expected to make $294,000 a year. Then the user can then download that email scoring strategy. And you can see it comes in Excel like what they're used to using. It's got the user, the hot lead, cold lead, their score, so they can sort it, depending on what they want to do with it. And then they can make their own targeting strategy from these scores if they want, or they can use the one that we recommend. And then here's the final app. This is what it looks like. This is what you build in this course. The end result for your portfolio or whatever you want to do with it. But this is the thing that the companies can then use. So imagine having this in your job portfolio to showcase during interviews, or showcase to your company the next time that you're, being considered for a raise. Like, that's the stuff that they want. So to recap, this project follows 9 modules that virtually eliminates project failure. It's the same workflow that I've used to increase my consulting company's project success rate to 100%, and you get it in this course. All right, I know what you're probably thinking, won't this take a long time, Matt? Well, that's exactly why I've added a 45-minute jump start to help you learn the basics of PyCaret machine learning, get a respectable accuracy, and set up a basic API. And the best part, you do this in only 45 minutes. So this comes with that jump start that's going to get you up and running with all of these key technologies. Here's what Jonathan Regenstein, financial services data science leader at Snowflake, said after beta testing the Jumpstart module. He says, incredible. Can't wait for the rest of the course. The Jumpstart module is awesome, and I'm already building some cool applications with PyCaret. Incredible what we can do in less than 100 lines of code and the right framework. Can't wait for the rest of the course. Well, let's rock. So what I've actually done, if you're familiar with my R track program, I've actually combined 2 of the courses into this course. So in the R track, we have Data Science for Business Part 2, which teaches you the machine learning and the ROI and all that stuff. And then we also have a Shiny Web Apps Part 1, which teaches you how to build and deploy web apps. So I've combined those 2, and that's what has went into this Python for machine learning and APIs course. So I blended them. And so here's what you're getting today, guys. Python for data science automation and Python for machine learning and APIs. Now, that's a total value of $1,694. Now, what about data science portfolio projects? So I wanted to help you with this as well. So today, guys, you're also getting, in addition to those 2 courses, 3 amazing apps to help you stand out from the crowd. So first, you're going to get a Shiny for Python app number 1. This is a finance app. And this app applies the same formula that you learn in the course, in the Python 2 course. This applies it to a completely different problem. loan default scoring, which is really important for financial companies. It helps financial companies prevent bad loans, which is, upwards of $10 million cost to big banks. The next one, so this is what you're getting today, guys. Python for data science automation, my Python for machine learning and APIs, and App One, a loan default scoring app. So now these apps are super huge value. You're getting them as bonuses. Total value now $6,694. The second app, though, it applies the same formula to a completely different problem again. Now it's HR analytics. So if you're going for HR roles or roles related to employee or human resources, this is the perfect one for those. So you're getting Python for data science automation, my machine learning APIs course, and you're getting App One loan default scoring and App Two employee attrition scoring. Now total value of $11,694. But the third app does something super special. So what happens inside of this app is you actually make what's called a forecast. And I'm doing this with PyCarrot as well. And this is crazy because you're with the same tools and just a few modifications to what you're how you use them, you can get amazingly like awesome forecasts. This is crazy. It's a huge demand area if you're not familiar with forecasting. And this app actually took me a week to develop it. So you're going to get that one as well. So lots of content that you're getting, a lot of extras that people can't, when they buy the courses on my website, they don't get any of the stuff. These three Python apps alone contain over 2,000 lines of code, and they're full projects. That means you get the data sets, you get the analysis files, you get the Shiny for Python app files, everything you need to replicate my exact steps. You see all the code that these things come with. All right. So today, guys, you're getting Python for data science automation, Python for machine learning APIs, my App One loan default scoring, App Two employee attrition scoring, and then App Three, the special app, the forecasting with PyCarrot. Total value $16,694. Now, to reward the fast action takers, I really want to help you guys. So the first 10 are going to get everything I listed above, plus you're going to get a one-on-one personal coaching call with me. Why is a coaching call important? Well, this is how Samantha use it. And this is why it's important. Samantha used her one-on-one coaching call to get through the third round of the CVS Pharmacy Data Scientist interview. Okay. That's when competition is the highest in the third round. Everyone worries about the second round. How am I going to pass the technical exam? Well, the courses get you through that. But the third round is really where the competition's the highest. And that's where the rubber meets the road. So she called me up on a Friday and we used her one-on-one coaching call to come up with a game plan. She had her call on Monday with CVS Pharmacy, and she announced later that day she got the job. All right. She says here in our Slack channel, happy to announce I got the job. And I truly want to thank this channel and course for motivation. Awesome. So here's what you're getting today, guys. Python for data science automation, my machine learning and APIs course, my App One loan default scoring, my App Two employee attrition scoring, App Three time series forecasting, and then the first 10, because I only have 10 spots available in my calendar over the next. So you guys are going to get that coaching call. It's $1,000 value right there. So it brings the total value up to $17,691. Now, if you were to buy these from my website, it would really add up to that much. But I realize, I understand it might be a lot of money for some people, even though it's worth every penny. So instead of paying $17,691, I'm going to give you a massive, massive, massive discount today, guys. 95%. So instead of paying $17,691, you're going to get everything for only $997, guys. So you're going to get Python for data science automation, the first course, Python for machine learning and APIs, the awesome machine learning course. You're going to get 3 bonus apps that are worth $5,000 each, plus a coaching call with me for only $997. Now, the last time that I announced a sale like this, we sold out on the first day and all those coaching spots went away. All right. So I only have 10 of those available just for timing purposes and scheduling purposes. So for those of you who want to become a business scientist with Python, are you ready to change your life? All right, guys, because ready on 3, 2, 1. I'm going to put the link in the chat, guys, and you guys are welcome to join my program and we can get started on your Python journey. So here we go. All right, guys. So I just put the link in the chat. And I'm ready to answer any questions. While we have people getting into the course, I do want to walk through what the process works like. So as you guys are getting into the curriculum, this offer does close in 2 days, but the coaching call will probably be gone well before that. Usually the coaching call goes, if it doesn't go on the webinar, it goes within the first day. So I don't want, if you're interested in the coaching call, I don't want to get any angry emails that you didn't get into it. This is the 2024 Career Deal. So I specifically designed this for you to help you in 2024 become a data scientist, grow your data scientist career, just like I said at the onset of this presentation. As we said, it comes with the 2 courses and the 3 Shiny for Python web apps for your portfolio. I'm giving you everything in, all of the skills here. I'm giving you 3 portfolio apps to help you stand out, and I'm giving you a coaching call to help you get through the interview. So you get all of this stuff, as I had mentioned, total value 17,691. The courses alone, these 2 courses alone on my website, people buy these every day. They spend 1,700 bucks. So you're getting these all today for $997, massive discount. Heck, that's just what a coaching call goes with me if somebody needs a coaching call. I do want to say, so here's how the order form works. There's 2 different payment options actually. So the best one is the $997. So you will get everything that we mentioned above, immediate access to it with both of these. But the payment plan is not quite as good of an offer. It is $200 off versus $700. So you're going to save an additional $500 if you go with this option. So pick which option you want. There's also an additional opportunity for you, and you guys, this is optional. All right. So I want to make sure everyone sees this. There's a little check button here. So if you want Learning Labs Pro, I am going to give you guys 30% off, and that gets you access to now 91 labs. So what you saw today with all the code in here and everything, this is all recorded, and it goes into this thing called my Learning Labs Pro membership vault. If you want access to that, we now have 91 labs. And what you do is you just check this and you see it'll get added here. This is a monthly subscription, but you are getting 30% off. Now, if you pick this offer, which is the payment plan, you cannot select the 30% offer. So make sure you're going to get an error here and it's going to say, no, you're not allowed to have this. So make sure you uncheck this. This is only available for people who are buying the full price offer. Does that make sense? Give me a thumbs up. Does that make sense? All right. Good, 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 good. Okay. Now, if you don't want it, just uncheck it and you'll see down here, it'll get removed from the summary. If you do want it, check it, and then you'll have access to the 49. And again, that's only for the single payment plan. All right. Then you, just like a normal order form, you enter in your information, payment details, click complete the order. What happens then is the server will take a minute to process, and then it will send you a welcome email. You're going to get an email with the next steps. It's going to tell you how to join the Slack channel. So the BSU community Slack channel, you can see that's in here. And this is how you're going to get support. You're going to learn about upcoming events. You're going to join 3,300 people that are also on your same path. And yeah, this is where you go for help when you need it. I'll be in there. I'm in there all day, every day. And when you want to network, when you want to learn about like what's upcoming, all of that stuff's right in there. Okay. And then also, what do the courses look like? This is the next question I always get. So you will get access to Python for Data Science Automation 1, the Machine Learning and APIs course, and also the 3 Shiny for Python apps. Let's see, show you what one of these courses look like. Which one do we want? Here, I'll show you what the machine learning. I always do I never show what the inside of this one looks like. So these courses are set up to really be digestible. They go very deep. So you're going to see there's tons and tons of videos in here, but I don't want you to get intimidated by that because each one of these videos is very short in length. So just a minute here, a minute 45. This one's 6 minutes. I try to keep all my videos under 5 minutes to make them digestible. And then you get in there and it makes it a lot more manageable to get through the course. Okay. So you go through your orientation, get your project set up, and then you'll do that jump start that I had talked about. So that's where you're going to do like a mini sales or no mini project with the key ingredients. So you're going to do a machine learning project, APIs and fast APIs. I also this is a I'm spoiling it right now, but there's actually another bonus in there. There's a Streamlit jumpstart that I added here a little bit ago. But once you get through that, then you get to the core part of the curriculum. So now you've gotten a taste of some of these key technologies. Now what we want to do is show you how to really complete these projects at a high level. So you get into module one with the business um, uh, analysis, the cost analysis, um, doing the simulations. If you see checkpoints, that's where you'll download the code that I've completed for you. So that way you have something to compare your code against. All right. If you run into any errors, you can always use the checkpoint code. And then you get to the module two, data understanding and KPIs, Suite Viz, exploratory functions. You have challenges to help you apply what you're learning to in different scenarios. So you're going to modify things and then and get challenged. And then you get into data processing pipelines. This is where you're doing the feature engineering and so on. Just show you a couple more highlights. We've got machine learning in here. As I had mentioned, you're going to be doing deep dive into PyCaret. You're going to learn how to do scikit-learn and H2O, scikit-learn pipelines, H2O, automated machine learning, MLflow, combining it with H2O, and then challenge two, and then return on investment. And I want to get to the end, production. So there's Fast API, lead scoring with Fast API, security with Fast API, Streamlit, and so on. And then you wrap up the course. So you can see these courses are deep. They're definitely dense, but they're all manageable. All these videos, 5 minutes, 3 minutes, 4 minutes, etc. So that's how the system works, and that's why it's so good at helping you get the results super fast. And then you get the Python apps and so on. All right, so that's just a little bit about the program. That's what we got in there. Um, how much would so I'm going to answer some questions. Uh, so if you have put the yeah the if you have any questions, please let me know in chat. And what I'll do is I'll go through the most recent questions here. All right. So let's start with, all right. Kunal asks, Lifetime Learning Labs Pro, which means you get all code and slides. Yes, if you have purchased Lifetime, you will get that. Is there a $7.99 plan? I hope the wrong one is $9.97. No, it's $9.97. So the plan, which one is this? So on the order form, you can see here it's $9.97. That is for the two Python courses. There's no $7.99 plan. Okay. Let's see. Is the bundle appropriate for those who have no experience with Python? Sounds like it gets pretty advanced quickly. Well, no, I've actually set it up for if you've never done anything with Python before, as long as you take this first course first, there's no prerequisites, number one. And all you need is, I'm going to teach you everything from the ground up you need to do with Python. I'm going to help you set up your first environment. I'm going to help you install the packages, and you're going to get up and running pretty quickly. Things that took me probably 2 weeks the first time I was learning Python, you're going to have done the first day. And then you're going to be diving into a mini sales analysis. So this question was from Brian Thompson. If you have no experience, you're still going to learn. And there's no prerequisites. You don't need to have experience to take this course as long as you do the first one. Okay. This is Vikrant. Can I get access to the video recording? So this video gets put into the Learning Labs Pro Vault. So that customer lifetime value training I just did, you'll need to become a Learning Labs Pro member in order to be able to do that. Now you do get a special deal down here on Learning Labs Pro. Again, this is only if you buy this plan here. You can enroll in that for 30% off. Alternatively, you can purchase it on my website. It's $69 a month there. Okay. Um, let's see here. What other questions do we have? What if you're not interested in the coaching bit? If you don't want to be coached, then just don't use it. You know, you're still getting a ton of value, all this stuff. And that goes for anything. If you aren't interested in employee attrition, well, you know, just buy it and just don't use that component because the courses and certain parts of it, those are all designed to help you. And if something, you don't like about it, just set it aside. But this is the bundle. This is the offer that's on the table. It's really good, man. I'm telling you. Okay. Let's see. Yeah, my average market basket value of 997. Yes, yeah, I do have I think the average lifetime value of our students is now over $2,000. And it's growing too. Because we've been also working with students on a lot of so when you buy a program like this, there's other programs that I offer that are only available to you when you become a student. Things like the coaching, things like so there's an extra consulting program that I'm going to take 10 students under my wing and help them build a consulting program. So this is generally the first step. People do want to learn Python, and a lot of people this is perfect for them. But for others that want to keep going, I do, that's how I increase my business. But it's also super helpful for these students that really want these advanced tactics. And yeah, I love teaching them and helping them. So it's a win-win. Okay. Are the courses part of the Lifetime Learning Labs Pro? No. These courses are separate. So these are what we call skill courses. So I'm going to teach you how to do the thing, right? Like analyzing Python and using it for data science automations, using Python for machine learning and APIs. Now, what's inside of Learning Labs Pro? So Learning Labs, let me search that. So here's Learning Labs Pro. This is what Learning Labs Pro is. It's a huge vault where each one of these is, and you can see it's like an hour. Like this is the one I just did for A/B testing and causal machine learning on marketing analytics, featuring Uber's causal ML. So this is what a lab looks like, and we have 90 plus of these things. The one that you guys just attended, this is a brand new lab as well. Tomorrow I will add it to this vault after the video gets finished being edited. Uh, this is what one lab looks like. And let me pause this so it doesn't talk. Okay, so like this is a different lab that I did on causal machine learning for marketing analytics. Um, this is the table of contents, the code that you get. So just like this lab has a bunch of code that you get, and the data set, we upload it as a zip file. You can also download the slides as well, and you get all of that. And this is really good because for things that are outside of the core curriculum, things like causal machine learning for marketing analytics and A/B testing, like that's something that you may want to learn if you're in marketing analytics, but if you're in the general path and you just want to learn business and you don't really care about marketing analytics, then we have the specialized topics in Learning Labs Pro. So that's how they kind of work together. So when you join Learning Labs Pro, you don't get access to, $1,700 worth of courses for, a $69 a month membership. Now, granted, these are worth way, way more. That's why I have students paying $2,000 to become a lifetime member in this program. So yeah, it's really good. Um, okay, we're getting a bunch of additional messages. So sorry for the confusion. There is indeed a selection of Learning Labs Pro for the 799 program. 799. Uh, so this is the 997. There, you can't if you pick this program, the 249 a month, you will have to uncheck this. This order form will not accept the Learning Labs Pro. So you have to do it with this one. Okay. Um, Isn't there an installment plan for this? Yes. Yeah. Are you guys all on the same thing? Um, Yeah. So the installment plan, this is a 6 payment plan at 249 times 6 payments. Um, so you save an additional 500 if you go this route, but if you want the payment plans, you've got this option too. And you can see here it's 249 a month. Make sure to uncheck that if you do the payment plan. Where can I see the details of lifetime membership? So lifetime membership is on our website. So businessscience.io. And what you need to go through is go to our courses. And if you go to Learning Labs Pro, and if you go to sign me up, there's a 69 a month option and a $2,000 lifetime membership plan. Okay. So that's where you can find out more about Learning Labs Pro. But again, this is the better offer, of course. So if you go this route and then sign up for Learning Labs Pro. Okay, what other questions do we have here? Where do you get these data sets from? So some data sets I source online, but other data sets come from actually business science. This data set was sourced online. I don't remember, or I don't have a link to the source right now, but um, yeah, and then some of the data sets I actually make. So yeah, I get data sets from all over the places. Please share the cheat sheet. I will share the cheat sheet once we're done answering questions. Anyone has the Python 2 API course? Can I pay some amount if anyone is ready to share? Kunal, please do not share with Kunal. That's not okay. Kunal, if you want to buy the courses, that's what the courses are here for. You have to, become a customer to get access to the courses. People aren't going to share their login information with you. James Ma, 30% off Learning Labs Pro, 90 plus labs, only available for the 799 plan. Oh, yeah, that it should be 997. Sorry, that's a typo. 997. Sorry, guys. All right. Is the R version going to have similar offers? The R version will have an R program offer. So this is Carolina. Yeah, so normally if I do an R program, I also offer an R track, but today this is a Python program, so I'm offering you guys the option for the Python track. All right. Okay. So let's see. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, we have 4 seats left for coaching. So if you guys are on the fence, please do me a favor. If you're on the fence, I want to speak with you and I want to see what questions that you have particular that I can answer to help you decide if this program is a good fit for you or not. So um, please put the questions into the chat. That's where I'm looking. I know some people have been using Q&A. I haven't looked at the Q&A. Let's see here. How long does it take to finish a course? And this is from, I'm not sure if it's Eli or Ellie. I think it might be Ellie. So Ellie, the, everybody differs, but if you do about 5 to 10 hours a week, that's on average what people put into these courses. It will take you probably 4 to 6 weeks per course to complete. But that's on average. So figure about 2 to 3 months to complete both courses. Okay. Does that answer your question, Ellie? Give me a thumbs up or a yes. All right, good deal. Cool. Bruno asks, Matt, I realize your code setup includes Python 3.9. Would it run a more recent version of Python? Yes, you can do, I think, up to Python 3.10. Once you get into 3.11, some of the newer some of the packages don't support 3.11. So just be aware of that. But yeah, you can try it. You can try it with 3.11, see if it works. In general, 3.9, 3.10, I'll bounce around between those quite frequently. Okay. Xavier asks, I work as a reporting analyst. Is there reporting type sections in this training program? Yeah, so in the first course, we have a whole module on reporting. So if I go to the first course, let me Tell you what, let me dive back in here. Whoops. Here, let me go to here, I'll pull up the first course and I'll show you what that looks like. So if you do Python course one, there's a huge section on reporting. So if I do Control F, report, so there's profiling for exploratory reports, but we don't want that. We want to go down to visualization and report automation, which is in part 3 of this course. So we're about, we'll say like 2/3 of the way into the course. That's where the reporting and automation and the visualization all comes into play. So visualizations, obviously you want to include visualizations in a report. We include that in this section. This is where we learn all the main visualizations. We do some automation like the database updates. And then the reporting component is in module 9. So you got your report automation. So you got part 1 and then part 2 right here. So automating HTML and PDF reports. So yeah, there's a ton of content on reporting. That's all in the first course covered towards, we'll say 2/3 into it. Does that make sense, Xavier? Is that all right? Cool. Got the thumbs up. Okay. What other questions? So like I said, we had about 4. Oh, we just got one more. So that was Eric. Eric just joined us. Thanks for joining, Eric. Okay, so we got 3 coaching spots left. If you guys are on the fence, now's the time. These probably will go on this webinar. Matt, can you share scholarships for needy students? I unfortunately don't have any scholarships. This program is already priced at the bare minimum, $997. I mean, I'm literally giving you 2 courses for that go for 1,700. People literally spend 1,700 bucks on my website every day. And then I'm giving you things that they aren't getting. So I'm giving you 3 additional bonuses, actually 4 bonuses, because you're getting a coaching call with me. So it's already discounted to the max. I cannot go any further. I apologize. But that is what it is. If you want, there is the payment plan though. And this is good if you have a budget, you can pick up the payment plan and that'll help you, kind of spread payments out. I understand. And that's unfortunate. I understand that you're in a poor city. Don't think that I don't feel for you, but I also have to run a business and I have to be fair to everybody. And 997 is the bare minimum. I apologize. Yes, if you're interested in just if you're interested in just the second one, this offer gets you like you will have to pay 1,000 bucks on my website right now. Here, I will show you. So if you want to buy just that course, that is this one right here. You are welcome to do this, but it is not a better deal. It is actually a worse deal. 997, or you can buy it for 6 payments of 199. So if you buy it for 997, then on my website, you're going to miss out on this. You're going to miss out on this. You're going to miss out on this, and you're going to miss out on this. So if you buy this program today with me, just think about it. You don't want this. Maybe you're advanced enough. You can always refer back to it, or you can always take a peek at it later. But if you don't want that, set it aside. You still get all of this stuff. And that's the way, you're not going to get a better price. This is the best price. And if you want pieces of the order, just buy the whole thing. All right. Any other questions for those that are interested in getting the coaching session? Again, I only have 3 spots left for that, I believe. Will the courses be available for a limited time? You will get lifetime access to the course, Leonardo. So that means lifetime access to this course, these 3 bonuses, and the coaching call. Now, the coaching call will be gone in once I think 3 more people buy. And then in regards to, but like when you get it, you can use it whenever you want. It doesn't expire. Okay. All right. But yeah, you do get lifetime access to all of this stuff. You can use this whenever you want. You don't have to use it right away. Okay. All right, guys. What other questions? Don't I sell the Jumpstart? I do not sell a Python Jumpstart. There is a reason I don't sell a Python Jumpstart. I do sell an R Jumpstart, and that's because there's very minimal support needed for when you set up your first environment. So with R, it's much easier. But with Python, you have to do this. And this is something that I routinely get questions on every day. All right. To prove that to you, I will show you some of the recent questions that I've been getting asked. So this is Raphael. This is Risto. So he started this thread on Wednesday. So that's Wednesday, January 24th. And we've been working with him on that. And we finally got him through the installation part. This is just, kind of a nature of the beast. So you can see, he's getting his environment installed, and that requires support. I'm not going to support somebody for a jumpstart program. That needs to be something that is, it's not worth my time at that point to support you. And then I get a bad rap because I'm leaving people to fend for themselves. So there is no jumpstart to Python. I do not sell a jumpstart to Python. Okay. Let's see. Does this course help to make a cash flow forecast based on income statement and balance sheet? So we have that in Learning Labs Pro. Cash flow forecasting, where was that? Where's Learning Labs Pro? Um, Let me go back here. Uh, Learning Labs Pro has cash flow forecasting. So right here's Learning Labs Pro. Cash flow. Yeah, cash flow. It's right here. We've got cash flow right there for finance. That's covered there. It doesn't look like it's in Python. Yeah, it might be in R. I thought I did one in R with cash flow. So let me do cash. Maybe not. Huh. Well, anyways, yeah, I cover cash flow forecasting in Learning Labs Pro. That's a common one that I get from the accountants, from the finance backgrounds. They all want cash flow forecasting. So it's there. And we got tons of forecasting in here too, if you're into that sort of thing. Okay. All right. Uh, with which subscription do we get today's code? So you have to be part of the Learning Labs Pro member to get today's code. That is the membership program. It is an adder. You just add Learning Labs Pro here. It's 49 bucks a month. You get it for 30% off. Okay. And alternatively, you can buy it on the website, full price, 69 a month. But if you get the deal today, 49 a month, I'll give you 30% off. Okay. All right. Let's see. Yep, you got it. Okay, what other questions do we have? We got Brett in. He just joined. Quinn joined. Okay, so we got one more spot left for coaching. One more spot. Okay. Any questions for anybody that's on the fence? Just want to make sure you guys get your questions answered before that last spot goes. All right, going once, going twice. All right, there we go. All right, guys, we are done with the so we have one spot left. Make sure you grab it before somebody else gets it if you're interested in getting having the coaching. All right, let me do this. I'm going to copy the link address. For those of you guys who want the cheat sheet, your dreams have just been made. I just put the link in the in the chat. So here's how it works, guys. It's 2 pages. We're on version 2.0. This is the most updated version. And you can see on the first page, this is all the basics. So things like importing, tidying, transforming. when you see any links here to like a cheat sheet, you click that and it's a link to, guess what? Another cheat sheet. So it's a cheat sheet that links to cheat sheets. But it's also links to all of the documentation. So for things like Plotly, it's really good to be able to have access to all the documentation for these things. If you're using ChatGPT, which is something that I started using quite frequently, it's good to be able to tell a ChatGPT which packages to use. Like I want to do a plot with Plotly. I want to do, their histogram plotter, their disk plotter, their 2D histograms, and ChatGPT will actually help you write that code. So this is how the cheat sheet can help you, whether you're writing code for yourself, need access to the documentation, or if you're using a tool like AI ChatGPT. Same thing on the second page. This is actually probably even more important than the first page, because when you get into like special topics like forecasting and time series, or if you need to do things like automation with apps and APIs or ML ops, these are the packages you're going to want to use. Well, now you know exactly which ones to research more. All right. So there you guys go. You guys got all the information. Make sure if you guys want that coaching spot, it's going to go probably pretty quick. So I would imagine by tomorrow it's going to be gone. And I'll put the link in the chat one more time for anybody that's on the fence, so you guys can join. And for those of you that did join, awesome choice. I can't wait to help you on your data science journey. And for those who are on the fence, I hope to see you in soon. I can't wait to be part of your data science transformation. All right, guys. With that said, we're going to wrap it up here, and I will see you all soon. Bye-bye.